so good. Why can't I just go one game? One game where I don't misplay.
Welcome to my second round game for the Beelzemon Cup. I'm versing Beelzemon himself. My opponent hatches a Yarmon and then immediately goes into an Impmon. He's going to finish his turn up by playing the I and Mako, choosing to grab the Dobemon with the search effect. Now this is going to actually start me off to such a good start because I'm going to be able to start with 3 memory and do quite a lot with it. So I hatched the Demimeramon, Digivolve into the Gazimon from BT10, and then I'm just going to play out the Yukio, Digivolving into Solmon to pass the turn. Impmon is going to move out and swing straight at security. Myotismon is revealed, so Impmon is deleted, but Myotismon being in trash is also good for me. But what's even better is that they've managed to set a Rival's Barrage and play out an Impmon just from trashing from being deleted. That's really good. This deck gets a lot of value very quickly by just running their dudes in. They're going to set up another Impmon on the board, which just leaves me at 1 memory. Oof. We draw for turn, and then we're going to move the Solmon out from raising. I finally correct my memory as well. Sorry about that. You'll see that a few times. And then Digivolve into Myotismon, drawing 1 for the evolution, then trashing 2 from the top of the deck. I see a Deathslinger, which will gain me a memory, and then Solmon's Inheritable will also gain me another memory, and I should draw from Demimeramon, at which point I will introduce a new game, which is, how many times will I not draw from Demimeramon? I then Digivolve into Myotismon, which will trash the top 5 cards of my deck, and gain me 1 memory because I have a Myotismon in trash, so it only costs me 3 instead of 4. My opponent's going to start their turn by hatching another Yarmon, then Digivolving into Dobemon. They'll suspend Iron Mako, which will gain them a memory and allow them to put a card on top of their deck. This sets them up to be able to attack with Impmon. Impmon is going to get deleted in security, which will trash the top 3 cards of their deck, and we see a Wizardmon, which will gain them a memory. And then they're going to choose to swing in with the Dobemon, probably hoping to get the on-deletion effect, but we see another Yukio in security, so that's going to help me set up just a little bit more, get ready to actually start deleting my Mallow to be able to play more Mallows. They're going to crack Rival's Barrage to get back a rookie so they can Digivolve and Raising, and then they're going to just play another Rival's Barrage to delete Mallow Myotismon.
My opponent was good. Look, he'd only been to locals the previous 2 weeks, but he had crushed it. He just absolutely crushed those 2 weeks. And he came over with Bulbay, and she had won the first week. Honestly, if you don't know who these people are, Bulbay's been in the Digi space for a while, and Liam, he's been doing art for a bunch of people, so you should probably know them already. Look, I'll leave descriptions to them in the description. I'll leave descriptions to them in the description? Is that what I said? I'll leave links to them in the description, but great player, great artist. Maybe he can't read cards too well though? He forgot that Yukio has the effect that I can suspend them and then gain 1 memory, which is 2 memory because I had 2 of them, and then I can play at the end of my turn a Myotismon by deleting him if he is suspended. So I end up being able to get a Yukio out and then 2 Mallow Myotismons. And yes, I don't get their on plays because I don't have enough in trash, but 2 level 6s on the board? Ooh, that's nice.
I have a Gazimon set up in Raising as well, and I'm going to swing over the Dobemon just to kind of get it off the board. I am very low in security at this point, so I might have a strong board, but I definitely don't have a lot of defense left. The Dobemon has managed to set up another Rival's Barrage on the board, and he grabs another Impmon back to hand with the on-deletion effect, and then I'm just going to play out a Gazimon and Digivolve straight into Devimon, so I've got a blocker that has Retaliation. Then I'm going to swing the other Mallow into security, but we see a Blast mode, which is going to delete my Mallow Myotismon. But I'll be able to suspend Yukio, which will mean I can just play another Mallow next turn. I'll put down the memory setter so that I can start my next turn at 3 to make sure that I can do everything that I want to do. My opponent moves out the Impmon, and they're going to choose to Digivolve into Wizardmon. They'll suspend the Iron Marco as well so that they can gain the memory and place a card on top of their deck, which will mean they can set up some more plays. They do have to do quite a lot of thinking just to make sure that they've got the right cards in trash with the right cards in hand to ensure that they can do that big play that they're trying to do. So they crack Rival's Barrage, and it looks like they're just grabbing back a level 5. It's probably the one thing that they're missing in their hand currently. They Digivolve into Beelzemon, which will trash the top 3 cards of their deck, but not before they have to draw the card that they just put on top before with Iron Marco. Luckily, they do see a Impmon from EX2, which is going to let them trash another 3 cards. That does end their turn, so I am going to be able to pop Yukio and then get another Mallow onto the field. I still don't get the on play though. That would have been really clutch right here just to get the Beelzemon off the board and set up lethal. I move Gazi out of raising because I really want to prevent any memory gain that could happen next turn. I'm definitely in a defensive spot, so I'm going to swing in security with Mallow to try and set up for the next turn play. I'll suspend Iron Marco, which will trash the top card of my deck, and that is Death X. And that would have been a really nice to have because I could just Digivolve another Mallow into Death X, de-Digivolve Beelzemon, delete it, and then finally stabilize my position. So I'm going to swing in with the Mallow into security again. I'm chipping him down, but I'm still not sure if this is going to be enough to be able to close out the game. So I'm going to play Mist Memory Boost. I'll trash the top 2 cards of my deck and then draw 1. And then I'm going to play out Beelzemon, just so I've got another memory blocker to really make sure he's not going to go crazy with any memory game. He hatches another Yarmon and Digivolves into Impmon, no surprises there. He then Digivolves Beelzemon into Beelzemon. So finally we see his boss come onto the field. He's going to suspend Iron Marco. He gains a memory and he can place 1 card from his hand on top of his deck. He'll then delete my 1 blocker, which is not good for me. Swing over my Mallow Myotismon, because he'll have enough DP to do that with the inheritables he has. And he also gets to trash the top 2 cards of his deck with the Yarmon effect. But with both of my memory blockers out on the field, he's going to have a lot of trouble getting any value from that. But the real value card is coming out right now, Death Slinger, so he's going to actually be able to kill my Mallow. I do not have any Yukios to be able to revive him, so I've just got 2 Gazimon left on the field. I go up to 4 memory. I hatch the Demi-Meramon and Digivolve one of my Gazis into Devimon. I'm going to crack the Pride Memory Boost, going up to 5 memory, and then hard playing Mallow Myotismon for 13. And this is the misplay. It is an unsuspended Digimon. I thought that I could delete Beelzemon, but it has to be unsuspended, so I still get to trash the top card of security, but I do not get to delete Beelzemon, and I think this might cost me the game. Impmon moves out from raising, and then we see Death X hit the field. Ooh, that's gonna de-Digivolve and get rid of most of my board. The Mallow does stay, but with only 1 Digimon on board, and I don't have anything in raising, I don't have a way of kind of clinching that out, and it doesn't really matter because it's still his turn. He's still going to be able to do a lot, even though he's played that for a total cost of 8. Impmon then swings at security, and he's going to use the when attacking effect to Digivolve into a Beelzemon. Things are not looking good for me. He draws for the Digivolve, and then he's going to suspend the Iron Marco, because if he can get enough memory, then after these 2 checks, he might be able to swing with his other Beelzemon for game. The when Digivolving effect triggers, and he trashes the top 4 cards of his deck, and yes, he does manage to gain enough memory to keep it his turn. Beelzemon has +1 security, so he's doing 2 checks. We see Gazimon and then a Pride Memory Boost, which sets in the battle area. He swings with the other Beelzemon and takes game 1. In game 2, I choose to go first, and I'm going to start by hatching a Demi-Meramon. Digivolve into Gazimon, and then straight into the Devimon for 1, leaving my opponent on 1. I'm going to be doing this a lot. My opponent hatches the Yarmon and then Digivolves into Impmon. They then just play out another Impmon so that they can search. And there are no targets, so that just all goes to the bottom of the deck. Back over to my turn, I'm going to move out the Devimon. And then I'll play a Missed Memory Boost just to kind of set up and hopefully get some things in trash that I want to see. And I get a Yu-Gi-Oh! And a Myotismon, which is pretty good. And we add another to the Demi-Meramon counter. Impmon's going to move out from raising. And then we see a Death Slinger just to get rid of the Devimon. That does hurt a bit because I did want him there to kind of remove this early aggression. But we still have 3 memory, so we'll hatch an egg and then Digivolve into Guzimon. I then go to Digivolve into a Soulmon, but I grab the Myotismon instead, so it looks a little weird, and then I go, oh, and we go into the Soulmon. Then I Digivolve into the Myotismon. My opponent asks me to stop setting him to 1 memory, and I hit him with the Captain America. No, I don't think I will. Meanwhile, he's already set up another Impmon in raising, so the Rookie Rush is strong this round. We do see him start to rush me down, so first check, and his Impmon gets deleted. And then we see him just Digivolve the other Impmon into a Witchmon. He'll trash the top 3 cards of security. He'll gain a memory from the Death Slinger, so he'll keep it his turn. And he may be missing the quintessential level 5 because he swings Witchmon into security, using the Inheritable to trash the top 2 cards of his deck, and then getting deleted by Myotismon. He then passes me to 2 by Digivolving into Dobemon in raising. I'm going to move out the Myotismon, crack the Pride Memory Boost, play Yu-Gi-Oh!, and then Digivolve into Mallow Myotismon. So I'll trash the top 5 cards of my deck. Because there's a Myotismon in trash, I will gain a memory. And then I gain another memory from the Soulmon. And then I leave my opponent at 1 yet again. He's going to draw for turn, and then he's going to move out the Dobemon. We see him swinging into security, and we see a Mallow Myotismon, so Dobemon gets deleted. He's on deletion, we'll trash the top 3. And he chooses to grab the Iron Marco back into his hand with the effect. He's then going to play the Iron Marco, searching the top 4 cards of his deck, and grabbing the Impmon. While he cleans that up and checks the number of cards in his trash, I'm going to start my turn, drawing a card, and hatching a Demi-Meramon. I Digivolve into Guzimon in raising, and now I'm going to swing Mallow Myotismon into security. We see an Impmon, so I'm totally fine. I'm then going to play a Guzimon just to stop him from gaining memory, and you can see the visible frustration as I set him to 1. He's going to hatch the Yarmon and then Digivolve into an Impmon, and then he's going to Digivolve into a Wizardmon. And I think this might be him giving me a taste of my own medicine. I'm set to 1 to start my turn. I'll draw, unsuspend, and move out. So now we've got 2 Guzzies on the field just to try and stop any of those pesky memory gain effects that he has. Mallow is going to swing at security once again. An Iron Marco is revealed, so he now has a memory setter, which means I can no longer choke him to 1. I'm also going to play an Iron Marco to make memory setter, so that way he can't choke me to 1. He's going to move out the Wizardmon, Digivolve into the Beelzemon for 3, suspending Iron Marco so he can gain a memory and put a card to the top of his deck. He's then going to trash the top 3 cards of his deck, and because he trashes the Blast mode, he's going to be able to play an Impmon from trash, and he has a little look. He's going to end up choosing the Impmon from the starter deck. He has the Impmon starter deck inheritable as well, so he is able to delete one of my Guzimons, but I'm hoping that I'm alright because I've still got the other one on the board. He Digivolves Beelzemon into Beelzemon, and he's going to be able to use the effect to delete the Guzimon. So now I'm vulnerable to any of his memory gain effects again, and he immediately is going to gain 2 memory from trashing cards from the top of his deck, sets a Rival's Barrage as well, but he doesn't get enough to keep it his turn, and Iron Marco is going to set me to 3 at the start of my turn. I'll hatch the Demi-Meramon and Digivolve into Guzimon, and then I'm going to swing at security once again, and we see an Iron Marco, so while Mallow does survive, he's got another way to set his memory, and he should have done the search here, but he didn't for whatever reason, so I have a feeling that he's already got everything in hand that he actually needs, and he's just checking his trash to make sure he's got things in there that he can use next turn. I'm going to do a little math and then just play Death X, which is going to cost me 5, and while this doesn't remove his entire board, it at least puts him back to Beelzemon. Impmon's off the field as well, so I'm hoping that this is just enough to kind of keep him down for a turn. Iron Marco is then going to set him to 3. He is going to hatch his final egg, and we can see his deck's getting pretty low, so I wonder if he's going to be able to go for it this turn, or if he's going to maybe potentially deck himself out. So he Digivolves into Impmon, and then he Digivolves into the Alt Art Beelzemon. Yes, he did get that lucky and get it just from a random starter deck. He's going to suspend the Iron Marco, so he can place a card to the top of the deck and gain a memory, keeping it his turn, and then he will trash the top 4 cards of his deck. This does gain him another memory, and then he just checks the amount of cards that he has in trash, because he will gain another 2 memory from that as well. So now he's on 3. I'm really missing those Gazimons that I had out earlier. And look at that, only 4 cards left in the deck. He is going to swing at security, and he's going to use the Inheritable to trash the top 2 cards of his deck. He does trash the Beelzemon Blast Mode, and then he just does some quick maths, and he does have enough to actually be able to delete Myotismon. I will use the Yukio effect to gain a memory and hopefully just be able to get a Myotismon out next turn. And this is where he uses the Iron Marco, which will be able to trash the top card of his deck, and he does see another Deathslinger, so he gains another memory, and then he can Digivolve into a Beelzemon Blast Mode from trash. We just saw one, so he gets to Digivolve into the new one, and then he's going to draw the last card in his deck, but suspend Iron Marco so he can put one back and gain 1 memory. The when Digivolving effect also lets him unsuspend and gain 3 memory. He does hit a Deathslinger in security, and I count, but I forgot that Blast Mode was a level 7, so he's well out of range of Deathslinger. The second check goes through, and it's an Iron Marco, and then he swings for game.
I honestly had so much fun with these matches. This was such a good event. I only lost to Liam and he won the whole thing. So, second place? Maybe I could improve the deck a little bit. Maybe I need a rematch. I'm coming for you. Coming for blood. Rematch. Ah!